Hello and welcome to part 2 of getting started with sticky webmail. In the previous tutorial, we covered how to update your profile or personalize your sticky webmail account. In this tutorial, we will cover how to import a campaign. In this tutorial, we'll be using the default 8K a week campaign that's in place. We'll also cover how to generate a form code. And then finally, we will cover how to install that form code on your Sticky Web Pages website. Now, you should be familiar with your Sticky Web Pages dashboard. And to begin, I want to point out that the autoresponder box shows that there's no campaigns available. None. Okay? So what we're going to do is take our cursor up to the Campaigns button, and in the drop-down menu, we're going to click on Campaign Store. Now we're at the Campaign Store, and you can see that there's an 8K a week follow-up sequence in place. It has 7 messages or emails in place, and under the Actions button over on the right, there's an Import Now link. Simply click on the Import Now link, and now we're back to the autoresponder box, and you can clearly see that we have a campaign that's installed, which simply means we have a series of messages ready to be delivered to our clients, prospects, and guests. Now, I want to point out that there's no subscriptions or confirmations as of yet. It's a brand new campaign. And what a campaign is simply a series of emails that are going to communicate messages to your clients, your prospects, and your guests. Anyone who subscribes to your email list by filling out the capture form on your website. Now I want to point out over here under the Actions tab, I want to point out messages. I'm just going to click on them to show you that we have 7 messages that are in place. And you see here are those brackets that we talked about earlier in the previous tutorial. Those brackets are going to pull information. That's HTML code. It's going to pull information from the messages and populate the proper information in place of it. In this case, it's going to put a first name in there. You can see that the first message is sent to go out immediately upon subscription. Each follow-up message is spaced at 1-day intervals. So after they've received the first message, 1 day later they'll receive the second. 1 day after that they'll receive the third. And you can set this. You can set this to do it every other day or every 3 days. That's totally your choice. You can see here that you can edit your emails in your campaigns, delete, move them up and down. We'll get into that further in detail in future tutorials. So for now, I'd like to go up under the navigation link. There's some more controls, and I'm going to simply click on Return to Campaign List. And here we are once again back at the autoresponder box with the campaign that's been loaded that we imported from the campaign store. And we know that there's 7 messages or emails ready to be delivered. So the next step is to generate a form code, and this is really simple. Now, before I press the form code button, I'd like to explain exactly what a form code is and why we're generating it. And to do that, I'm going to shortly bring up the Sticky Web Page. But remember, we just imported this campaign in here from the campaign store, and it's geared towards 8K a week. In future tutorials, we're going to show you how to add additional campaigns in here. Now, let's say, for instance, you decided to build a page for a different company that you represent, and you added it to your Sticky Web Page, and we'll call it XYZ Coin Company. So you're going to have another campaign in here for XYZ Coin Company. You would have to generate a form code for XYZ Coin Company and attach it to that specific capture form. So now what I'm going to do, after I gave you that tidbit, is bring up the capture form on the sticky web page. When we generate the form code, it's going to be unique for this campaign, for this series of emails. And what we're simply going to do is, after we generate it very shortly in this tutorial, is we're going to insert it into the dashboard of sticky web pages so that this capture form becomes unique for that specific set of emails in that specific campaign. So let's head back to the sticky web pages dashboard by simply closing or minimizing the sticky web page by just pressing the minimize button in the upper left hand corner of the screen. And now we're back at the sticky web pages dashboard. Right here under the Actions tab is a form link. Simply click on the form link, and now you have a Generate HTML Autoresponder subscription form. Do not be confused. This is nothing but, some words that you may not have heard before, or HTML has frightened you. Watch how point and click easy this is. In the form fields box, this is what we're going to request our guests to submit to us. So I am going to look for their first name, ask for their first name. I want that to be generated on the form. And next to the mandatory question mark, I'm going to check that because I want it mandatory that they give me their first name. Any serious prospect will give it to you. And then I'm just going to scroll down and look for phone number. Ask for phone number 1. And I'm going to check that box. I'd like that on my form also, and I'm going to also make it mandatory. Now those are the only two that I'm going to check, first name and phone number. The form will automatically generate a box for their email code, so you don't have to worry about looking for that. Now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you can clearly see that there's a Generate Code button. Folks, it really is that easy. I'm going to generate the code. I'm going to click that button. And now I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom of the page. And underneath that Generate Code button is now a box that specifies the generated code. And here it is in the upper box. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this whole form. I'm going to place my cursor at the beginning of it. I'm going to hold it down and highlight everything in this box. I'm going to copy it to my clipboard by pressing Command and C. Those of you with a PC will hold down Control and C. And those with a mouse, right click and copy. Now I'm going to scroll back to the top of the page now that I have that form code that we generated on my clipboard. And I'm going to go above the navigation bar and I'm going to click on Sticky Web Pages. This will take us to our Sticky Web Pages dashboard. And here you can see that's exactly where we are. You should be familiar with this dashboard after being through our first set of tutorials. And in the navigation bar, we're going to click on Appearance. In the drop-down menu, we're going to click on Widgets. This is where we're going to install the generated form code. Now right here we see Sidebar Widgets and the text written, yes, I'm interested. There's a watermark drop-down arrow. I'm going to click on this, and you can see that the form code that's in here, we are going to change and add our new form code. So I'm simply going to highlight this all and press the delete button. Now you can see the form code box is empty. My cursor is still in there. And now I'm going to press the Command and V button, V for victory, and paste my newly generated form code in this box. I'm simply going to come down to the bottom right-hand corner of the box and press the Save button. And once the form has been saved, I'm going to scroll over to the left and close that package back up so it's nice and neat as we left it. I'm going to go up to the tap navigation bar and go to the dashboard and click on the home page. Remember the little house? Click on the home page. Now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page where I can return to Sticky Webmail. Follow my cursor and you see that link, go to Sticky Webmail, and I'm going to click back to Sticky Webmail. So now that we're back at the Sticky Webmail dashboard, I'd like to recap what we've done in this tutorial. We simply imported a campaign into our autoresponder. Then we covered how to generate the forms code. And then we went over to Sticky Web Pages and we installed the forms code. That's it. Wasn't that simple? It really was. A little bit of typing and a couple of clicks of the mouse. Remember, you can pause, rewind, and advance these tutorials at your leisure while you're setting up your account. Now, in the very next tutorial, we will cover exactly what happens when someone leaves their info on your Sticky Webmail capture form on your Sticky Web Pages site. I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial, and we'll see you on the next show.